You know how they say Rome wasn't built in a day? Well, the same goes for Barcelona's La Sagrada Familia. Construction on this stunning basilica has been ongoing since 1882. But guess what? The wait might finally be over as officials announced that it could be finished by 2026. So why has this taken this long to get complete? It all started with a bookseller named Jose Maria Bocabella, who founded the Spiritual Association of Devotees of St. Joseph. After visiting the Vatican in 1872, he came back with a dream to build a church inspired by the basilica at Loreto. Work began March 19, 1882, and under the architect Francisco de Paula de Villar, who initially planned a Gothic revival church. But things took a big turn in 1883 when Antoni Gaudí took over as the architect. Gaudí's vision was radically different, and then he dedicated himself to the project. Even though he died in 1926 with the basilica only 15 to 25% complete, his influence remained strong. Work continued after Gaudí's death, led by his disciple Dominic Sugrane Sigra, but the Spanish Civil War in 1936 caused significant delays and destruction. The current design is based on what could be reconstructed from Gaudí's original plans and modern adaptations. The central nave vaulting of the Sagrada Familia was finished in 2000. After that, the main focus shifted to constructing the transept vaults and the apse. In 2002, the Sagrada Familia Schools building, which Gaudí originally designed in 1909 for the children of construction workers, was moved from the eastern corner to the southern corner of the site to house an expedition. By 2006, work concentrated on the crossing and the supporting structure for the main steeple of Jesus Christ and the southern enclosure of the central nave, which will become the glory facade. Advances in computer-aided design allowed the stone to be shaped off-site by a CNC milling machine, whereas before, stone was carved by hand. In 2008, some well-known Catalan architects suggested stopping construction to respect Gaudí's original designs, despite these only being partially reconstructed from what survived. From 2013, AVE high-speed trains started passing near the Sagrada Familia through a tunnel beneath central Barcelona. The tunnel's construction began on 26 March 2010 and sparked controversy. Spain's Ministry of Public Works claimed the project posed no risk to the church, but the church's engineers and architects were not convinced. Despite a campaign against this route, the tunnel boring machine reached the church underground in October 2010, and train service through the tunnel began on January 8, 2013. In mid-2010, the main nave was covered and an organ was installed, making it possible for the still unfinished building to be used for liturgies. On November 7, 2010, Pope Benedict XVI consecrated the church in front of a congregation of 6,500 people. An additional 50,000 people followed the Mass from outside the basilica. On April 19, 2011, an arsonist started a small fire in the sacristy, causing damage and forcing the evacuation of tourists and construction workers. The fire was contained in 45 minutes. Jordi Faullí i Oller, born in Barcelona, took over as the project's architect in 2012, with New Zealand's Mark Burry serving as executive architect and researcher. Sculptors like J. Busquet, Esturo Soto'o, and Josep Maria Subjeracs added to the church's fantastical facades. In October 2015, Chief Architect Jordi Faullí announced that construction was 70% complete and had entered its final phase of raising 6 immense steeples. The steeples and most of the church's structure were planned to be completed by 26, marking the centennial of Gaudí's death. By 2017, estimates suggested that decorative elements would be finished by 2030 or 2032. The annual construction of 25 million euros is funded by visitor entrance fees ranging from 15 to 20 euros. Starting on July 9, 2017, an international Mass is celebrated at the Basilica every Sunday and on holy days of obligation at 9 a.m., open to the public until the church is full. Visitors can also pray in the Chapel of the Blessed Sacrament and Penitence. The stone initially used in its construction came from the Montserrat mountain, but since 2018, the stone has been sourced from the Withnell Quarry in Brinscall, England. Construction stopped on March 11, 2020 due to COVID-19's pandemic, the first halt since the Spanish Civil War. The basilica reopened to key workers on July 4, 2020. On November 29, 2021, a 7-meter, 12-pointed illuminated crystal star was installed on one of the main towers dedicated to the Virgin Mary. Local residents have expressed concerns about the plans to build a large stairway leading up to the basilica's main entrance, as it could require the demolition of 3 city blocks, affecting 1,000 people and some businesses. The style of Sagrada Familia is often compared to Spanish late Gothic, Catalan modernism, or Art Nouveau. While it fits with the Art Nouveau period, Nicolas Pevsner notes that Gaudi, like Charles Rennie Mackintosh in Glasgow, took the style far beyond its usual decorative application. Though never intended to be a cathedral, Sagrada Familia was designed to be a large building, comparable in size to a cathedral. Its ground plan is reminiscent of earlier Spanish cathedrals like Burgos, Leon, and Seville. Similar to European Gothic cathedrals, Sagrada Familia is shorter in comparison to its width and features a complex array of parts, including double aisles, an ambulatory with 7 apsidal chapels, numerous steeples, and 3 distinctly different portals. Unlike typical Spanish cathedrals surrounded by chapels and ecclesiastical buildings, Sagrada Familia includes a covered passage or cloister forming a rectangle around the church, passing through the narthex of each portal. The plan, influenced by Villar's crypt, hints at the complexity of Gaudi's design and its departure from traditional church architecture. Inside and out, there's no exact right angles and few straight lines. Gaudi's original design calls for 18 spires representing an ascending order of height: the 12 apostles, the 4 evangelists, the Virgin Mary, and tallest of all, Jesus Christ. As of 2023, 13 spires have been completed: 4 apostles at the Nativity facade, 4 apostles at the Passion facade, the 4 evangelists, and the Virgin Mary. The evangelist spires are topped with sculptures of their traditional symbols: a winged bull, St. Luke; a winged man, St. Matthew; an eagle, St. John; and a winged lion, St. Mark. The central spire of Jesus Christ will be surmounted by a giant cross, reaching a total height of 565 feet, slightly shorter than the Montjuic Hill in Barcelona, as Gaudi believes his creation should not surpass God's. The lower spires are topped with communion hosts with sheaves of wheat and chalices with bunches of grapes symbolizing the Eucharist. Plans include tubular bells within the spires, driven by the wind to produce sound inside the church. Gaudi conducted acoustic studies to achieve the desired acoustic effect, though currently only 1 bell is in place. Upon completion, the Jesus Christ spire will make Sagrada Familia the tallest church building in the world, surpassing Alminster by 11 meters, which stands at 161.5 meters at its highest point. The construction utilizes post-tension stone panels, pre-assembled before being incorporated into the main structure, providing significant structural and operational benefits. The Sagrada Familia features 3 grand facades: the Nativity facade to the east, the Passion facade to the west, and the Glory facade to the south, which remains incomplete. The Nativity facade, completed before work was interrupted in 1935, reflects the most direct influence of Gaudi. Constructed between 1893 and 1936, this facade is dedicated to the birth of Jesus and is adorned with intricate scenes of life and nature. Gaudi's naturalistic style is evident here, with sculptures arranged to symbolize various elements. For example, turtles and tortoises at the base of columns represent time as unchangeable, while chameleons symbolize change. Facing the rising sun, the facade is divided into 3 porticos representing the theological virtues of hope, faith, and charity. Above the portico of charity, the tree of life rises prominently. The 4 steeples are dedicated to Saints Matthias, Barnabas, Jude the Apostle, and Simon the Zealot. Gaudi initially intended for this facade to be vividly polychromed, with each statue painted to appear lifelike. In stark contrast, the Passion facade is austere and plain, depicting the suffering and crucifixion of Christ. Construction began in 1954, following Gaudi's 1917 design. The steeples, completed in 1976, and the sculptures by Josep Maria Subirachs began in 1987, which feature harsh angular lines. Gaudi intended this facade to evoke fear and drama, using chiaroscuro to highlight the severity of Christ's sacrifice. Facing the setting sun, symbolic of Christ's death, the Passion facade is supported by 6 large columns designed to resemble strained muscles. Above, a pyramidal pediment of 18 bone-shaped columns culminates in a cross with a crown of thorns. The 4 steeples are dedicated to Apostles James, Thomas, Philip, and Bartholomew, and 3 porticos again represent the theological virtues. The scenes on the Passion facade are arranged in 3 levels depicting the Stations of the Cross. These include scenes from Jesus' last night before the crucifixion, the Calvary of Christ, and the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ. A bronze figure representing the Ascension of Jesus links the steeples of St. Bartholomew and St. Thomas. The Glory facade, the largest and most striking of the 3, began construction in 2002. This principal facade will represent the road to God, depicting scenes of death, final judgment, and glory. It will also require the partial demolition of a block of buildings across from the Carrer de Mallorca. To reach the Glory portico, a large suitcase will lead over an underground passage decorated with depictions of hell and vice. The portico itself will feature 7 large columns representing the gifts of the Holy Spirit, with the 7 deadly sins at their base and the 7 heavenly virtues at their top. This facade will have 5 doors corresponding to the 5 naves of the temple, with the central one having a triple entrance, totaling 7 doors representing the sacraments. In September 2008, Subaroc central doors were installed bearing the text of the Our Father prayer in Catalan in high relief, along with Our Father and Give Us This Day Our Daily Bread inscribed in 50 different languages. The handles of the door form the initials of Antonio Gaudi. The church plan is that of a Latin cross with 5 aisles. The central nave vault reaches 45 meters, while the side nave vault reaches 30 meters. The columns, designed to resemble trees and branches, are arranged on a 7.5-meter grid. The crossing is supported by 4 central columns of porphyry and a hyperboloid vault reaching 60 meters and the apse capped by a vault reaching 75 meters. The interior columns feature branching designs and evolving geometric forms, creating a dynamic visual effect. The surfaces are highly ornamented, combining smooth curves and jagged points. The iron railings and stairways also exhibit intricate curvaceous designs. In 2010, an organ was installed in the chancel by Blancafort Orgener de Morissant organ builders with 26 stops. The organ overcomes the church's unique acoustical challenges. Additional organs will be installed, playable separately or simultaneously, creating an instrument with about 8,000 pipes. The decoration throughout the church includes words from the liturgy, with the steeples adorned with words like Hosanna, Excelsis, and Sanctus. The Passion facade doors reproduce excerpts from the Passion of Christ, and the Glory facade will feature words from the Apostles' Creed. The 3 entrances symbolize the virtues of faith, hope, and love, each dedicated to a part of Christ's life, his birth, glory, and suffering. Areas of the sanctuary will represent various concepts such as saints, virtues, sins, and secular ideas, with corresponding decoration. 5 generations have walked by this construction originally designed by the renowned Spanish architect Antoni Gaudi. When it's finally done, the Sagrada Familia will be the world's tallest cathedral with 18 towers. These towers symbolize the 12 apostles, the Virgin Mary, the 4 evangelists, and Jesus Christ. The Jesus Christ Tower will be the tallest at 172.5 meters. All that waiting makes your own feel like a breeze, doesn't it? We're committed to releasing 2 videos a week. Like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more visionary builds.